Is Pittsburgh on your relocation list? Is it actually worth it? And the honest answer is, it depends. Because Pittsburgh has some genuine strengths that very few cities can match, and it has some real drawbacks too that will surprise you if nobody warns you about them at first. So today I'm going to do something most agents won't do. I'm going to walk you through 5 topics: weather, traffic, the terrain, cost of living, and something that every family and every person needs to be made aware of before they decide making a move to our area. I'm going to give you the real pros, the real cons, no spin, no sales pitch, just exactly what you need to know before you decide to make a move. And if a question jumps out to you at any point during the video, I can be reached at my email address below. I'd be happy to schedule a call with you, help bring you some clarity with you and your situation and what makes the most sense for you and your family moving to our area. I'm Tim Phillips with the Phillips team here in Pittsburgh, PA, and I would love to be your preferred real estate agent of choice when making a move to our area. Okay, so the pros and cons. Let's do it. Let's talk about something that every family with kids thinks about, but almost nobody covers in a relocation video: healthcare. Specifically, where do you take your kids when something serious happens? Well, Pittsburgh is home to one of the top children's hospitals in the entire country, and access from the South Hills can be convenient. But the con is, depending on where you land, getting to specialized care means navigating the city, and that is worth planning for. The pro here is legitimately impressive. UPMC Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh is consistently ranked among the top children's hospitals in the United States. We're talking about a facility that handles complex pediatric cases that other hospitals refer out. For families moving from smaller markets or even mid-sized cities, the level of specialized pediatric care that exists in this region is a genuine upgrade. This is not a local hospital trying to do everything. This is a destination facility that families travel to from other states. And for families settling in the South Hills, the access picture is better than expected. So you've got Jefferson Hospital in Jefferson Hills. It serves the southern suburbs but is located more to the east. St. Clair Hospital is right in Mount Lebanon. Bridgeville has UPMC Children's Express, which is west and closer to South Fayette. And if you're based at the southern part of Allegheny County or northern part of Washington, this is Upper St. Clair Peters Township, you will have easy access to Canonsburg Hospital as well, which is straight down Route 19, or right off of 79. There are also UPMC urgent care and pediatric outpatient locations spread across the South Hills. So routine sick visits, sports injuries, and the usual kid stuff does not require a trip to the city. Now the con, and this is worth naming honestly, if your child needs specialized care at Children's Hospital, you are looking at a drive into the backside of Bloomfield, Lawrenceville area, which is more located on the central eastern side of the city. So if you're coming from communities like Peters Township or South Fayette, that trip in normal traffic is manageable. In a stressful moment with an unwell child navigating Pittsburgh's tunnels and bridges and potholes, completely different experience. It is not a reason to rule out the South Hills, but it is worth knowing your route before you need it, rather than figuring it out in the moment. The bigger picture though is this: very few mid-sized cities in America can offer what Pittsburgh offers on pediatric healthcare. For families prioritizing that when they choose where to put down roots, this region punches well above its weight. Now, this next topic gets overlooked sometimes: the weather. I know some of you just raised your eyebrows like, what the heck is he talking about? Weather? Well, soon you'll see. Now the pro with this is you actually get all 4 seasons here, and fall in Pittsburgh is genuinely beautiful. Personally, it's one of my favorite times of the year. It's almost like an unspoken season of celebration, wrapping up all the fun moments had from late spring up until now. Because we all know that on the other side of fall potentially lies a cold, long, dark, gray winter. So that brings me into the con: winter. It is long and gray, and we can have one of the cloudiest stretches of any major US city. Let's start with the pro here, because it is real. Pittsburgh has 4 distinct seasons, and all of them are worth experiencing. Fall here is legitimately spectacular. The leaves, the colors, the crisp air, the way that the city looks from the overlooks might even be in your backyard off your back porch in the South Hills. If you are moving from Southern California or Florida, where every day blurs into the next, a lot of families tell me they did not realize how much they missed all seasons until they had them again. Spring here is beautiful. Summer is warm, not brutal. Of course, there's always a chance where there can be stretches of getting 80 to 90 degree weather, which can feel miserable at times. But what I like most about our weather is there's a rhythm to it throughout the year. that people who grow up here are deeply attached to. Now the con. Winter in Pittsburgh is real. We are one of the cloudiest cities in the entire country. There are stretches in January and February where you will go 2 or 3 weeks without seeing direct sunlight. Temperatures drop into the teens, sometimes single digits. We get ice and snow, and we have the hills, which we are going to talk about in a few minutes. And all of these combined makes winter weather something you need to respect in a way that flat city drivers are not used to. If you are someone who needs sunshine to function, this is something you'll want to seriously consider. Okay, let's talk about getting around, because Pittsburgh traffic is nothing like what you're probably expecting. So coming from the South Hills, those commutes are genuinely manageable, especially with the T and access to major highways. Now the downside of that, the geography kind of creates some choke points. One tunnel accident and everything backs up. Here's the pro that surprises people the most though. If you are moving to the South Hills specifically, the commute picture is actually pretty solid. The T, which is Pittsburgh's light rail line, runs from the South Hills all the way into downtown. If you're not riding the T, you can use the Interstate 79 as another option. And the way most South Hills communities are set up, a lot of families find that they do not need to go to the city nearly as often as they expected. You can live a very comfortable life out here without fighting downtown traffic on a daily basis. Now the con is the geography, and it is real. Pittsburgh is built around 3 rivers and significant hills, which means there are very few ways to get from one part of the city to another. Bridges and tunnels carry the load. So for example, the Squirrel Hill Tunnel, the Fort Pitt Bridge, or the Liberty Tubes. If any of those places has an accident, the backup has nowhere to go. But the alternative routes are going to take you so far off your path, you're going to question your own logic on whether you should go the alternative route or not. For example, I used to live in Bethel Park and work downtown. I had 4 different routes I could take to get to my job at that time. The route I took cut through Whitehall, West Mifflin, Baldwin, to the bottom of East Carson Street, over to Oakland, up Bates. If this is confusing to you, send me an email. We can talk more about this and what it may mean for you. You learn the patterns, you plan around them. But for the first few months, it can be genuinely disorienting. Now, I want to talk about something that is completely unique to Pittsburgh, the terrain. And I mean that literally. We've got ups and downs and all arounds, and the views from hillside homes are genuinely spectacular and surprisingly affordable. Now the downside is hillside lots bring real maintenance, and winter driving conditions most buyers aren't prepared for. Now the real pro, that the hills give Pittsburgh's neighborhoods a character and feel that other flat suburban areas just don't have. When you are driving through areas surrounding the city, or parts of the South Hills, there is a distinctiveness to the streetscapes and the community layout that people from cookie-cutter subdivisions find genuinely refreshing. The geography forces neighborhoods to develop their own identity in a way that a flat grid city never does. I personally like chasing sunrises, and this clip here is from Peters Township High School, which took me 6 minutes to get to driving from Upper St. Clair. Now, the con is that hillside properties come with things to know. Some residential streets in this area run at grades where not every car is going to function at its best given the weather difficulty. If you have a 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive vehicle, you'll be okay. This is not a scare tactic, it is just something I walk every buyer through. Hillside lots can also have drainage considerations, retaining walls that need maintenance, and challenges that flat lot buyers have never thought about. None of this is disqualifying, but none of it is invisible either. When I work with buyers in this area, I always make sure we are eyes open on what terrain means for that specific property. So let's talk about money now, because this one is usually the thing that makes families from out of state stop and do a double take. Pittsburgh is significantly more affordable than most major metros, so your dollar genuinely goes further here. Even though it is cheaper than coastal cities, but it is not as cheap as it used to be, and taxes are a real factor. Let's talk about money, because this is the one that usually closes the deal for families moving from places like the DC area, New York, Boston, or the Bay Area. The pro is real and it is significant. Pittsburgh consistently ranks as one of the most affordable cities to live in. The median home price here is a fraction of what you would pay in a major coastal market. A budget that gets you a starter townhome in Northern Virginia or a small condo in the Bay Area gets you a 4-bedroom home with a yard in a top-rated school district in the South Hills. That's not an exaggeration, that's just math. And beyond housing, everyday costs like groceries, utilities, and dining out tend to run below the national average as well. Now, the con, and I want to be straight with you on this, Pittsburgh is affordable, but there are a couple things that catch people off guard on the tax side. Pennsylvania has a flat income tax rate, which is roughly 3%. But local earned income taxes, school district taxes, and in some cases, municipal taxes layer on top of that, depending on exactly where you land. So some South Hills communities carry a higher overall tax burden than others, and that is something I always walk buyers through before they fall in love with a zip code. The headline price on a house is only part of the monthly number, but it's worth knowing most of your taxes, if you're going to be living in the South Hills communities like Upper St. Clair, Mount Lebanon, Bethel Park, are going to the school district. So in a strange way, you're kind of reaping the benefits of what you're paying anyways with choosing which school district you want to be in, whether that's Bethel, Peters Township, Mount Lebanon, Upper St. Clair, South Fayette, and so on. So there are your 5 topics, 5 honest pros and cons of moving to Pittsburgh, covering the seasons, getting around, the terrain, cost of living, and children's healthcare. Here's my honest take after all this. Pittsburgh is one of the most underrated cities in the country for families, especially families coming from high cost of living markets on the coast. The affordability, the schools, the neighborhoods, the healthcare, that combination is genuinely rare. But it is not for everyone, and I would rather you know that going in than finding out 6 months after you've moved here. So if this video was useful, like, subscribe, ring the bell as I put out new videos every single week covering Pittsburgh real estate, honest neighborhood breakdowns, and what it actually looks like to move your family here. No fluff, just real information for people making a real decision. I'm Tim Phillips, your local Pittsburgh realtor with the Phillips team here in Pittsburgh, PA, and I'm here to be your #1 trusted guide for everything you need to know before you pack a single box with making a move to our area. If you want the inside scoop on where to live, what it costs, and all the fun things you can do, thanks for hanging with me today. I'll see you on the next one.